Hello guys, welcome back to another video here on Prime Tennis YouTube channel. Today we're going to be looking at some of Novak's clips. Today what I want to talk about is, how I made a video previously um, about anticipation, right? Hold on, let me turn this down. I made a video previously about anticipation, right? And I just want to change something, just a little bit of terminology, right? What I was talking about before is anticipation, like reading what your opponent is going to do, based off of their movements, the situation that they're in, what their options are, stuff like this, right? But now I want to distinguish the difference between reading and anticipation, right? So the way I think about it is like if you're on a plane, right? I'm going through a scenario. Just stay with me here, right? If we're on a plane and there's someone who's just like they're anxious, right? They're afraid of planes, afraid of heights, right? So they're constantly like, what if the plane falls? What if the plane falls? What if the plane falls? They're checking, all right, where the mask gonna fall out from? Where is the nearest exit? And they're like, throughout the entire flight, they're just planning out, how they're going to, you know, what they're going to do if something were to happen on the plane, right? That's anticipation, right? He's anticipating his next move. If this happens, all right, this is exactly what I'm going to do. Compared to someone who, I guess in tennis terminology, is reading, right? It's like if you're on the plane and you don't have that fear, you don't have that anxiety, you're pretty comfortable. But then the plane starts to fall, worst case scenario happens and the plane's gonna crash, right? Then you read the situation, okay, the mask fall down, let me grab the mask. Okay, my life jacket's right here, let me grab my life jacket. You're assessing the situation, okay, the nearest exit's right there. Alright, I gotta go to the exit, I gotta take care of my kids, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. They're assessing the situation as the situation is happening. They're coming up with actions for it. And that's basically what I explained in the last video as anticipation. I think there's a slight difference between anticipation and reading that can make a difference, right? So let me see if I can explain it here, right? Let me watch this point. That's incredible. That's a crazy point. Okay, let me see. So there's a lot of anticipation here, or I mean reading here, right? So cross courts, right? A lot of cross courts in this rally. This, for me, is what I call anticipation. This forehand here, right? So Alcaraz is moving back to his spot here. He's thinking, if Novak hits this ball cross, or if he hits it anywhere in this area, I'm going to hit a forehand. I'm moving, this is my backhand side. I can hit a backhand. But if he hits it here, I'm going to hit a forehand. That's anticipation. It's not based on what Novak is doing. It's based on a scenario where Alcaraz gets what he wants, right? And then he gets a chance to hit a forehand here. Novak's shot is a little bit slower. It doesn't go that deep, It's not like he took Alcaraz wide and went down the line. Alcaraz isn't in any sort of trouble. So he's going to take the initiative here, right? It's a forehand down the line. That's anticipation. Reading. Okay, like on this shot right here. Alcaraz recovers here. I think it's this shot. You see, before Novak has already hit the ball, Alcaraz is already moving this way. Because he can see Novak. He knows, okay, we've been going cross court. He's keeping the same rhythm. Novak hasn't changed anything. He can see from this position, Novak's going to hit it cross court, right? And he's right. It's actually an angle. So if like he hadn't taken that little step before Novak hit the ball, he would have been a step behind here. That's reading. That's based off of the situation. Because if it's just anticipation, if it's just, oh, I hope he goes cross court, I hope he goes for the short angle if you're wrong, then, you're put in a really tough situation, tough spot, right? So anticipation, or I mean reading, it's based off of information. That way you're not just going nilly-willy, with whatever you want. It's based off of information. It's based off of facts. You know what's going to happen in that scenario, right? Obviously, I don't think most people's anticipation is good to where they can tell, oh, okay, they're going to definitely 100% going to hit a short angle here. Let me prepare for that, right? The way Alcaraz just did it here. But that's the level that, you want to aim for. So it's small things like what I talked about in my last anticipation video, right? If they're stepping in, step it back. If they're going to put their weight through the ball, it's going to be heavy, If they're on the defense, step in. They're going to hit a short ball, they're in trouble, they're off balance, and that's where it starts. And as you get better, you start to notice little patterns like, oh, this ball's a little bit close to him. It's going to be hard for him to hit an inside-out shot, or an inside-in shot, right? The ball's close, he's jammed. He's not going to be able to do that. He's going to go for an inside-out shot, or the ball's far from him. He's not going to be able to get around the ball. Okay, so that means it's going line or it's going in the middle, right? And little things like this, where you can really get better at it. And, the anticipation is what got Alcaraz in the beginning of this rally in a good position. That shot right there. Now he's hitting forehands. And it's back to the cross court, right? His forehand down the line from here wasn't that good. There again, forehand. Looking for opportunities to attack. And it can be as simple as, if they go where I think they're going to go, then I'm going to take advantage. I think that's what Alcaraz tried to do here, right? On this shot, I think he thought that Novak was going to go down the line. He's, out of position. Novak is about to hit the ball. He needs to recover. And so he's thinking, I'm out of position. Novak's going to take advantage of this. He's going to go down the line. You can see he kind of gets a little bit stopped there, He's able to recover because he's insanely athletic. But that's him, like, anticipating, like, okay, the ball's going to come this way, right? I'm going to prepare for it. I'm going to go try and hit a good backhand or try and get to it as early as possible, right? And sometimes anticipation is just, if they're going to, like what I said before, if they're going to do what you think they're going to do, just taking advantage of that. Alright, so this is a defensive shot. Oh, that was an earlier shot here that Novak hit. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Like, this shot here would have been a good one, right? If Novak was ready for this more, if he was like, all right, if Alcaraz is going to hit, because you got Alcaraz kind of stumbling here. If he was more like, all right, if Alcaraz is going to hit short here, I'm going to take advantage of it. I think he knows how great of a player Alcaraz is. He wasn't expecting Alcaraz to kind of, I think this was a little bit of a mistake here. It landed kind of short and it was high. I think he might have missed hit it a little bit, right? But if he was more on top of that, he hits this behind the baseline, jumping into it. But imagine if he was stepping in, then he would be able to take advantage of this shot a bit more, right? So it's not perfect. Anticipation, in my opinion, it's not something that you act upon is something that you hope for. Like, all right, if they do this, then it's like falling into my trap. Like, okay, you did this, all right, now you're cooked, right? Like, you're gonna pay for that. Oh, wow. Oh, that's a short lob. So that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys get what I'm saying here. I think it's an interesting topic, the difference between the two. I think if you incorporate both into your game, anticipation and reading, you anticipate, and it gets to the point where your anticipation and your reading become the same. You're hoping that they hit that short ball, and then you see that they're about to hit that short ball, and you're stepping in, and then it's just like, bam, you take advantage of it right there, you know? So, just something to keep in mind. I'll see you guys in the next video.